on stage. So over to you, Dr. Ken.
Thank you very much. It's an opportunity to be up here again, and I thank the organizers for that. I've been sitting quietly this morning listening to the presentations, and to a large extent, and I agreed with what most of the things said, especially by one advisor. And I started there thinking to myself, say, who will bear the cart? So if you are within an institutional context or a system that you want to change, how possible is it to change it within that system, or do you need another system or to be outside of it to change it? But as it stands at the moment, it appears we cannot escape the system in which we have found ourselves, and the only alternative left for us is to work from within. But as we're thinking of becoming change agents in one way or the other, another thing we might think about is to be conscious that we are not being emotional about it. I can understand the role of emotions, but sometimes also we need a bit of rigor in terms of the conversations and the discourses. And as much as we want to push the CSR agenda, I guess 90% of us here I would consider you as converts, but also recognize that outside here, there is a dominant discourse that is anti-CSR in whatever way we want to consider it. It's only when we begin to recognize those dominant discourses, then we can then engage or take them head on. But in those situations, emotions do not help. So if the economist comes here and tells you, makes an argument, or a political scientist or a lawyer of a certain sort, you also need to match the rhetoric in such a way that you have the backbone to challenge that. So what am I saying in relation to the issue about business case and the government case? Also raises a problem. If government did all these things we're talking about, what would be the role of CSR in that space? Does CSR come in because of governance failure or government failure? Is CSR a stopgap? So these are some of the issues I think this session will be focusing on. And we have a pleasure to have somebody here who works with the senator and who might be in a position also to tell us more about that. When the bill came out, that should be around 2008, I was at Cranfield, and somebody contacted the Center for Corporate Responsibility at Cranfield University and said they wanted an opinion about this bill in Nigeria and what they thought about it. The director of the center turned around, sent it to me, and said, well, you're from Nigeria, deal with it. Okay, so, and it was a short email I did to the people who contacted us and said, once it becomes compulsory, it's no longer CSR. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but it's not CSR. So CSR still remains that voluntary activity that companies do to feel